Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back out here working on the truck. I had take a little bit of time off because a bunch of stuff came up, and then I had to also get parts as well. But I think I got all that squared away. Um, Gotta do the oil change real quick on the Weiss Aspen, so we'll do that, and then we'll get back to the rear end. So we'll jump right into that and get going. All right, so now got that done, knocked out of the way. So now we can start on the rear end, get those, get the shims in, thrust washers and all that good stuff. So we'll do that, and I'll show you how I did that, because after that other video, I got it all figured out with some help from my dad. But yeah, we'll get cracking at it. It wasn't really that big of a deal once I figured out how to do it, because basically all you do is I've recorded it previously, but I'll just jump into that right now, and I'll have my past self explain it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's been a little bit since I made a video because I started working a bunch of overtime. Then I waited for some parts and stuff like that, so I ran out of stuff to do. But I got all my parts now, and I can start working on it again. Plus, I got some free time. So we'll start hammering on this, get this going. And then I'm going to work on the part 2 of the rear end, because I got it all figured out. It took me a little bit to figure it out, but I got it all figured out with some help from my dad. And I'll go over how I did it with the tools that I did it. I actually had to make some tools to do it and then figure it out and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go over all that and we'll get into it. So here's how I did all this stuff. Alright, so this is what the tool looks like that I'm using. So this goes on the outside of the axle. This long all thread goes through the axle, and then this goes into the spider gear. So it's like this. So just imagine that tool inside of there, and then it's like a little puck that I'm using from my bearing press kit, and then I just got some big washers on here with a nut. Then that goes all the way through the axle tube, and then goes into the spider gear. So just like that. So those washers are like in that spider gear with that nut. So I'll show you when I tighten it, but then it'll compress that spring that's inside of the clutch pack. And I'll get that in on both sides, and then I'll just tighten those up a little bit. It'll compress both sides, and then you'll be able to get those the gears in, and once you get the gears in, then you slide your pinion thrust washers. And I guess that's what they're called. There's different nomenclature for them. But I found the one the actual gear companies use is the pinion thrust washer. And then these are the part numbers for them. Because when I was trying to do it, I galled them up a little bit. So then I just bought some new ones. That's the part number. And they're from Yukon Axle. And there they are. I know they're typically the washers are end up being married with the gears. But since they're new, I'm going to go off the same principle that like putting new discs or new pads on rotors. So those washers will just get married to the new, well, not new, the used spider gears. So that should all work out just fine, I would think. So, well, we'll see. I'll get these in there, and then once I tighten it up, I'll show you guys what it looks like as I'm tightening it up. You'll see those two springs get compressed inside the gears, and you'll see them slightly pull out. It's just enough to where the gears drop down in. and then you can either slide those washers in or take a brass punch and then you just punch the gears to rotate the star gears in. I can show you guys all that too once I get in closer. But that's more or less it. That's the way I found to do it without taking the carrier out. I mean, you can do it the same way if you take the carrier out. It's just I didn't want to take the carrier out because you need a special tool to go in there and tighten the carrier in there, because these 9 1/4 don't use a conventional shim method. They have like adjustable shim, I guess you could call it. All you do is put a big rod in there. It has like a octagon head on it. It just goes inside that adjuster, and you tighten that down to 70 inch-pounds or 70 foot-pounds. I don't remember quite which one. I'll have to put that in the description. I'm not sure, but yeah. So you do that and then all that kind of stuff. Whereas if I do it this way, you know, I just leave all that stuff alone and I can just change everything inside the axle housing. So I'm gonna get onto that, get those in there, start pulling that apart, and as I'm tightening that, I'll show you guys what that looks like. It'll be a very slight change, but you'll be able to see it. So let's do that. All right, so I got both of those in there, both the tools that I made, both those off-thread rods in there, and tightened down. And then I did record it, but you couldn't really see it. You couldn't really see the gears move around. This is the best way to show you, is see how loose those gears are. So now you can easily slide the thrust washer underneath that gear. So you put those gears in there without the thrust washers, and then you can put those thrust washers in there afterwards. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. I just had it in there. There we go. So you get that in there. You just slide it underneath, real easy like, because otherwise you'll gall up the washer. So you just put that in there, and then you put your pin in there between both of those thrust washers, and then once your pin's in there, and then you can release the tension off of there. Because if you release the tension off of there, I found this out the hard way, release the tension off of these before those washers are perfectly lined up to where that pin just easily slides through. What'll happen is, like, obviously those washers will get pinched in there, and then you can't really move it, and then the pin doesn't go all the way through. But so I got those in there. That's good to go. That pin will just slide in there like so, like it comes out. And then what I was saying about the brass punch to move the gears is you just literally put this brass punch, because this brass punch is super soft. It's not going to gull or destroy the gears or anything like that. But to get that out of there, you just tighten those up just like they are now. Maybe a little bit looser, because they don't have to be as tight to get the washers in there as they do to loosen it. But yeah, you put this on there, and then you just keep hammering it and keep hammering it until you get the spider gears where they need to be. And that's more or less it. And that's the only way I found to be able to do this, because I'm not sure if there's actually any other way to do this besides that, because they almost have to do it the same way through the factory, because I can't really honestly think of any other way to do it. But that's the way I do it. If you guys have any other way you guys do it, I mean, leave a comment down in the description, or leave a comment down in the little comment section, and then tell me how you guys do it. But this is the best way I found to do it. I mean, I really honestly couldn't think of any other way to do it. I was beating my head against the wall out here trying to figure out how to do this without wrecking anything. So this is the only way I found to do it. I did lube up both the clutch packs before I put them in there, because otherwise, from what I understand, if you don't lube those up real good, they'll chatter for like a day or two just before they get gear lube in there. So you don't really want that. So I got those all lubed up and good. Everything's clean. So I just need to put the pin in, put that little 8mm bolt in, and fill it up with fluid. I still got to go through and dress up all this, because I did get a little bit of flash surface rust. So I'll go through and clean all this up and do all that, and then get my cover back on. And then we can run brake lines. So, but that's more or less it with building the rear end. So, I mean, I don't think you guys really need to see me slam the axles in and put the seat clips on and all that kind of stuff, because that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I'll do it in the video, but I'm not going to explain it. So, but that'll be more or less it for rebuilding the rear end on a 9 1/4. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, just hit me up and I'll just try to answer them the best I can. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.